Local cellular regeneration complete in 3, 2, 1. Regeneration. Welcome to healing, Mr. Parker.
Room spinning. I can barely stand. Where am I?
You're in 2099, Parker. The cellular regenerator healed you.
I hope my medical insurance covers that.
Look, focus, Parker. We have to test the gateway. Toss something small into it.
Oh, come on, O'Hara. Doesn't coming back from the dead entitle me to a breather?
We need to see if the gateway's reestablished. And every second that...
Okay, fine. I'm on it.
You may have noticed just a slight glitch in Spidey's stumbling animation right there. Just a slight one.
I'm gonna toss a piece of junk to see if the gate's working one way. Incoming!
It came through. Perfect.
Huh. Plus, I'm feeling like my old self. Strength and everything.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing the cellular regenerator had your DNA on record.
Good. Stand back.
What do you mean?
I'm coming through the gateway.
Wait, the return circuits are fried. I won't be able to come through even if you set it up on that end. I'll be stuck here.
So fix it.
I can't. The technology doesn't exist here yet. You need to find the repair parts on your side and then send them through. I'll guide you to where they are.
What the heck is that?
What happened?
I'm looking at a tentacle the size of a Buick.
Yeah, something like that came at me when the gateway first got overloaded.
It looked like one of those mechanical tentacles that Otto Octavius uses in his research. Really messed up.
Look, just watch out for them. There may be more.
Oh, believe me, whatever's trying to kill me at any time, there's always more. So where to?
Get to the hydroponic jungle. You'll find what you need there.
These freaking tentacles keep showing up.
Well, that's interesting.
I am so glad you can maintain your scientific detachment. And why are time gateway repair parts in a jungle?
Just trust me, okay?
Trust me, says the voice in my head. You know, this is how serial killers get started.
I am really, really sorry I keep bringing up the challenge screens in the middle of dialogue. It's just a habit at this point. So this act of the game is a lot slower than the first, but the gameplay doesn't.
Some webbing should take care of that turret.
But the gameplay doesn't slow down, just the story elements.
When you acquire the parts, keep them separated. Otherwise, you can wind up with a sort of energy feedback.
Okay, what sort do you mean?
The explosive sort.
Oh, fantastic.
It certainly doesn't stop Miguel and Spidey from talking, though.
By the way, thanks for bringing me back from the dead. Now I know how Captain America feels. And Jean Grey. And Colossus. And...
Yeah, just don't die again and we'll call it even.
O'Hara! What just happened? What is that?
What are you talking about?
I have a nice easy path in front of me and it just became an obstacle course.
Welcome to my world, literally. You're seeing quantum causality in action.
Weird. So, you can help me from the present.
Which present? You're in my present.
My
You
synapses.
mean your past present or my present future?
I hate you.
So, something that ties into this game's overall theme of duality and contradiction is that although Spidey's universe is the past, in it, Sloan has already created Alchemax and his plan is in full effect. Well, in the future, Alchemax is still as it was originally. So, in a way, Spider-Man's past is the future and the future is the past before Sloan's plan was put into effect. If we assume Sloan is dead because he got knocked into a time stream, which is never very good for you, then we have to wonder where those tentacles are coming from and what sort of atrocity might be causing them. There's also the question of who's running the show right now, because the security systems are still active. Are they just all automated?
Okay, I'm almost there. Now what?
Okay, there are 3 rooms in the hydro jungle. You'll find an energy regulator in each one. Take the part that looks like an atomic battery.
Atomic?
It'll be fine, as long as you remember that they're fragile, and if they touch you...
And if they touch each other, I'm screwed. I get it.
They don't let up. The part you need should be in the middle of the room. You can take it without risk after you deactivate the 3 consoles around the room.
Why are these things always in threes?
I have no idea.
You know, that's just gonna bug me now for the rest of the day.
That line was actually a direct reference to the rest of this act's design. Pretty much every obstacle in this game is in threes during this act. Every single one. Also, I keep screwing this up over and over and it's embarrassing. So you've probably figured out how the gameplay works. They keep finding new ways to test what you've learned about the game mechanics. And they do a reasonably good job of continuing to do that throughout the entire game. I just thought it was really cute that they poked fun of themselves a tiny bit there.
Okay, got it. I'm all done, right?
Yeah, as soon as you get similar parts from the other room.
Figures.
This seems like a good time to mention that these graphics are not just downscaled from the PS3 and 360 versions. The game was actually restylized for the Wii. So yeah, in each of these rooms you have some obstacles and you need to pull the switches while things are shooting at you or lasers are flying around everywhere, you know, stuff like that. You could just take the time to punch everything until it dies, but then, you know, we wouldn't finish the challenge in time. You might notice Spidey's health is very low, and I did indeed almost die in this room several times. I mean, I did die several times. I knew what I meant. You should know what I meant.
Good news, O'Hara! I'm on a roll!
Don't stand around taking bows. Those tentacles started showing up here in force.
Oh, well, welcome to my world. Hey, maybe they can only focus on one of us at a time.
Maybe. Just finish getting the parts.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Because I just completely forgot to do so at the beginning of the recording, here's the upgrades. We're going to upgrade Spidey's health a whole lot because he needs it. He gets pummeled in this act. And that's kind of all there is of note here. We're going to upgrade Miguel's basic attack, but we're almost done with all the interesting upgrades, pretty much.
How's it going?
More robots. They're not complaining. It beats tentacles.
So while I fail this challenge horribly, even though it's very, very clear what you're supposed to do, let's talk about Spidey's new costume. He has the Venom suit right now, or I guess it's just called the Black Spider-Man suit. I'm fairly certain most of you know what it is. And speaking of suits, Miguel got his suit during the Day of the Dead, which is a Mexican holiday, I believe, which explains the skull pattern. Let's skip ahead just a tiny bit.
Need a timeout. Just forgot O'Hara's warning about making sure they don't touch. That was close. O'Hara, I got all three. I'm good to go.
Then do it. Head back to the gateway room.
On my way. Hey, O'Hara, those parts must have been pretty important. The jungle's starting to look like the Sahara.
That couldn't be helped. The parts are rare and we need them more than a bunch of plants.
This seems like perfect material for a Biodome and Spider-Man crossover fanfiction. I'm not suggesting that anyone make such a thing, I'm just saying it should exist.
Oh, damn! O'Hara! The suicide is back, and it just annihilated my way out. Or maybe not. It looks like it just opened up a different path.
I hope you're being careful with the parts.
O'Hara? Remember you said to keep those parts separate? Well, let's just say, just for the sake of argument, that didn't work out. Just how big a bang are we talking about?
It would crater the city. Why are you asking? Wait. Don't tell me.
More tentacles. I can't get past them in time. Is there any way to reverse it? It smells like a sewer in here. Better keep moving.
Not for you, there isn't. Get him to the gateway as fast as you can.
My. A blast from the past. Such an active little spider. Brings back so many memories. You aren't supposed to be here, you know.
That voice. It sounds like... No, it couldn't be.
The security systems told me you're here. And you've been very, very naughty. But you just keep running around spinning your webs, little spider. I'll be right with you, so we can relive old times.
It must be the speakers distorting it. By the way, who built speakers into sewers anyway? What's up with that?
Yes, Spidey, it must be the speakers threatening you. The automated security system is threatening you. So, another glitch just happened. That tentacle's supposed to go away, but it didn't. It got stuck. So I needed to wait here until I died, but of course I'm not going to make you see that. And that's obviously what it's supposed to look like.
I'm in the gateway room.
Alright, throw the parts through, one at a time. Passing them through the energy stream should reverse the energy buildup, but if you toss them in all together, it'll trigger the...
Okay, I get it. We got any clue why Otto's tentacles keep coming out of nowhere?
He may still be alive, but he's trying to get out.
Or drag us in.
I wish I knew how to get rid of these shocking tentacles!
They hit when you punch them right around the claws.
I'll do it, thanks!
Have you got the new parts in place?
Yeah, I just have to activate the breakers.
Good plan.
Without getting killed.
Ooh, better plan.
This challenge caused me a load of hell every other time I did it but when I recorded it just now. For some reason I had absolutely no problem with it this time. I still don't like this room very much. This is the Wii version, so you can't really move the camera around freely.
What are you doing? I'm activating the breakers. Just hold on.
Another kind of annoying thing about this room is that even if you finish the challenge and you bring down all 3 breakers, the enemies will continue spawning as though you hadn't. And there are a lot of them. I'd say around 100, so we're going to be skipping a lot of this. 100 might be an exaggeration, probably around 50. I try to put the breakers down as fast as possible, but like I said, it doesn't matter because enemies will continue to spawn regardless. Also, it gets me shot in the ass.
What's happening now?
Just some security guards. Something to occupy me while the gateway warms up.
They should really work out some sort of like risk communicators where they can see what the other is doing. That'd be really cool.
Don't hurry. I'm thinking of staying here. Good.
Are you out of your... Okay, let me just finish this and we'll talk.
I don't know, Miguel. With everything that's been happening, this seems like it would be as good a time as any to talk about Peter's existential crisis. So these are the fellows with the concussive blasts and annoying shields that Peter fought earlier. This room's fairly open, so they're not exactly hard to avoid. I guess that's one of the perks of this room. So, it's been said that Otto might still be alive somewhere in the time stream, but previously his tentacles were definitely not the size of a Buick. And if Otto were able to survive being a mere human, surely Anti-Venom could have as well. That just leaves Sloan. You know, it might be a little optimistic to say he's dead, but his plan is ruined either way at this point. And I still have a really hard time believing that nobody else in Alchemax has any idea what's going on right now. I mean, someone has to be noticing this. These are real people here. These aren't like the robots that Peter was fighting. Somebody has to know.
I'm not getting a steady power flow. I need to find the schematics to figure out why. If the archives room here is in the same place it is in my time, it should be accessible through a vertical tunnel. You stay put!
I've been thinking maybe staying put isn't such a bad idea.
Meaning what?
Come on, O'Hara. It's not like Anti-Venom was a fluke. Someone's always trying to kill me, and there's always a chance of my loved ones being caught in the crossfire. If I stay here, no one I love will suffer or die because of me.
What about all the good you've done? And will do? The people you'll inspire, including me.
You're saying the lives of a billion strangers are more important than my loved ones?
I'm not saying that. History says that.
Yeah, well, history doesn't have to wrestle with guilt. Or tentacles! They're at it again!
Alright, stay clear of them. I'll get it figured out on my end.
So even though we have this whole tentacle mess to sort out, it doesn't seem like we'll be getting Peter's support much longer. Of course, he may not necessarily have a choice in the matter.
Shut it! I'm not gonna reach that door before it's sealed tight. Oh, there has to be a way to reopen it.
This challenge is very weird. We need to collect 59 of these little blue orbs, but they're spread out a long way away from each other. There are around, I don't know, 30 in this room, and then the others are across like a huge pit of obstacles. It's not necessarily a bad challenge, but there's very little, indication of what you're supposed to be doing right here. You're supposed to open this door after you defeat these guys, or open it before you do, like I did, if you ever want to make it in time. It's just kind of confusing, because there's this room full of enemies, and there's not a lot of blue orbs, so you have no idea where you're supposed to be going.
Give me an update, O'Hara. It's all I can do to stay ahead of these tentacles.
Yeah, this is just taking a little longer than expected.
Well, move it. I already died enough for one day.
If I were Miguel, I would be all kinds of pissed right now, but I suppose that's why I'm not Spider-Man. Yes, by the way, the challenge is still active, and we are going to be collecting those blue orbs. Any minute. Any minute. And here they are. So, it's a little confusing, a little tricky. I think I do get the gold, if barely. Why is it so dead silent? I just find the lack of music insanely bothersome right now.
That's you hanging in there, Parker?
Those mutant tentacles are getting way too close.
Don't worry, it's almost over.
Yeah, it better be.
One still has to wonder where Mary Jane is during all of this. Is she still waiting for Spider-Man? You can't go around those. I make that mistake every single time. You cannot go around those pillars. I don't even think this is an elevator shaft. This is just like a really long vertical corridor full of dangerous things. Those pistons have to be for something, right? I mean, they're not just there.
Closed door again. And with any luck, the switch is nearby this time, too.
Remember that whole thing about all the obstacles coming in threes? Well, not only do we have to free fall a third time, but there are 3 rooms filled with enemies right here.
Where's that pass?
Judging by the challenge up there, you might think that each room has 10 enemies, since there are 3 rooms, but that's not true. One of the rooms has 9 and one of them has 11. I have no idea why. It really, really irritated me the first time I played because I thought I was missing something. In case you didn't hear it yet, now that we're fighting human enemies, Miguel has a tendency to insult them for working for Alchemax. It's doubtful that they can hear him while they're getting the shit pounded out of them, but, Did that door seem askew to anyone? It seemed a little off-center to me.
Sit down. Shut up.
I know I have a tendency to edit out a lot of the combat, and it's not because it's bad or anything, it's just that, at the same time, this isn't Beautiful Joe or Max Anarchy. Not all of the combat situations are unique like they are in those games.
The tentacles to convince me that 2099 sucks, then mission accomplished.
Anxious to come home? Well, so am I.
These free-falling segments, I suppose you could say, are reimaginings of the free-falling segments in Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, which Miguel also did, though Miguel has a very different personality in that game. And again, Shattered Dimensions is fun too, it's just that this game is woefully misrepresented. You know, a lot of people thought it was an atrocity, which I'm pretty sure it's fairly clear at this point that it's not. If anything, it's an improvement on Shattered Dimensions. I guess that's really what all these videos are about in the first place, so if you like this game and how it looks even a little bit, then I guess that's mission accomplished for me. And I just remembered I died up here, so let's do each other a favor and pretend I didn't while I edit it out. I believe this may actually be my third take on this challenge, and I just settle for a silver because screw it. I suppose it makes sense that Miguel is the one doing the free-falling, because he has a shield, and Spidey's brains would be splattered everywhere if he were the one doing this. You know, there have been a lot of weird crossover comics between Marvel and DC. I'm kind of wondering whether there was one between Miguel and Terry from Batman Beyond. That seems like it would fit very well.
What's the story?
I'm almost to the archives.
Almost won't stop these freaking tentacles! Reboot the gateway, would you please?
Working on it. Terrific. A voice-coded door. Miguel O'Hara, 5249.
Access denied.
Figures. Parker, change in plan.
Cancel, please.
I can't access the archives on this end, but you can on yours. I'll guide you to the archive room, and you can give me the information I need.
The archives room? That would be handy. I could look up the people I love and keep them out of danger.
Don't you dare poke around in there, Parker. You've already seen the dangers of screwing with the past. Learn from the mistakes instead of repeating them.
Fine, fine.
Attention, security. Intruder must be neutralized.
So this challenge right here is actually pretty easy. It's a kind of a change of pace. There are a lot of hand-to-hand dudes which take forever to hit you, and 2 guys that shoot. So, you know, you just gotta keep the guys that shoot distracted long enough. I can't tell if these things with the Christmas lights are supposed to be servers.
Stop doing this to yourself.
I assume that's the case. They look a lot like servers to me.
One side.
Insert vague Mirror's Edge reference. Regret inserting vague Mirror's Edge reference. Cover shame by showing off Golden Spider location.
I don't know what to do.
You're in a better position than I am.
If I can find the architectural plans, make some changes, but I'll need the computer for that.
Then find one!
Star Wars. Jar Jar Binks. The cake is a lie.
Never panic. There looks to be an electrical panel up there. Maybe I could short circuit this thing.
Terrific. Quantum
See if there's any way to
slow it.
O'Hara? Remember that whole I never panic thing? That's more of a guideline than a rule.
Parker, did it work?
I made it worse. The incinerator started up.
Can you shut it down from your end?
I sure hope so.
This section right here could have been meant as a mirror to the section in the hydroponic jungle that Spidey went through. It's kind of similar. and both test the character's specific abilities.
Great, I either get fried or flattened. Now I know how an egg feels.
This kind of makes me wonder whether the comment back there about all these obstacles always coming in threes was added before or after they realized what they were doing with their game design.
Focus.
Like, was it always intended to be this way, or did they realize afterward and then add in the comment?
Hey! Remember when you were telling me to hurry up? Right back at you!
Yeah, I'm doing my best to find that computer so I can bail you out. Finally,
I'll do
a
better
lack
than
of
your
challenge.
If there is one downside to trying to complete challenges, it's that sometimes the events of... Oh god, what is happening right there? Anyway, if there's one downside to completing the challenges, it's that sometimes the important character dialogue gets overridden by the event dialogue.
O'Hara, I'm running out of room!
You know what? We just don't have the time to dodge these lasers.
Parker, are you there? Say something!
I'll never look at a panini the same way again.
Oh, whew. Glad I'm out of there. Place smelled like the Rhino in July. O'Hara, they have enough security in here to keep out an army of Spider-Man. Any ideas?
I'm trying something here. Did it work?
Yeah, mostly. I can deal with the rest. Thanks, O'Hara.